Welcome back to my studio. This is Colleen with Designs of Value Art. And today I'm going to give you a bird's eye view of how I choose my background colors. And this is the project that we're going to paint. It's a couple of yellow and orange daffodils. The orange is in the center. Got some really nice darks in there. So it'll be really a good project to paint. I'm going to probably put a little bit more detail in there. And in looking at the background, I've decided not to go with the background that they have on this reference. I would like to see what I can do with some different colors, and we're going to mix those up today so you can see how I'd make that decision. I kind of flipped through some of my old art books. I buy old art books on eBay fairly inexpensively, and I do a lot of landscape books because they have the most information about the backgrounds and the most colors that you can kind of pick and choose from. So that's kind of fun. I sat and looked at a whole bunch of different books this week, making a decision as to what I'd like to do here. And I want to do a blue up in here and kind of a mid-value blue. We'll put a darker blue down here with a violet. Dioxine purple, I think, is the color I chose. And then we'll take that blue from up here, which is going to be two separate colors, and we're going to lighten it and create this value down here. We'll keep the same lights. Now up here, where the solid blue is, I'm going to drop some of the yellow. And that's a really good thing to do with a yellow center of interest, which this is going to be our center of interest right here. And get some of those colors into your background and kind of drop them in here and there while your background is wet, and do kind of like a charging. And what that does then is you look at the yellow and you look at the orange, and your eye doesn't just stop there. You'll also notice, oh yeah, there's some yellow up here, and oh, there's some yellow over here, and a little bit of orange in here. So that's what we are trying to do with this background. I just didn't care for the mostly green. I mean, it makes the yellow and orange stand out, but I think the blue, and if you look at your, just set that one over there. If you look at your color wheel here, orange and yellow orange, which is basically the colors we're dealing with here, right up here, opposite or complementary colors is blue, blue, violet. And those were the colors I decided to go with. Well, now we are going to add a little bit of green in there, here and there, probably between this, so it'll soften down here, and then between here, and then some more of the blues over there. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's mix up some colors. Now I've got the design, and there's the tracing, and I put it on the paper. I lightened it. I didn't want to lighten it too much because I wanted you to be able to see it. So I don't want to mix my colors on top of the design because I don't want that to get on there by accident. So I'm going to pick up the colors that we want to use and set them off of this board. Now this is a 100% cotton 11 by 14 fluid. 100 is what they call it. I pick it up right at Dick Blick, my favorite place to shop. And so I'm going to set this aside just because I don't want to get anything on it. So we'll bring that back out, and I was showing you how to make some of those cards, but I'm going to go to a larger pad of paper. It's just not 100% cotton, but it'll do the trick so that we can see what these colors are going to look like. And I'll bring that out. Pick this up right at Walmart. I think I'm going to leave it right on the pad. I don't think that's going to matter. It is a cold press. I like the cold press, so I want to see how it's going to work with that. Got some other things here I'm going to set aside. All right. So we got our colors. And put my palette underneath the design. That's not going to work. All right. So we'll do it like this. Really doesn't matter if that gets wet. Okay. It's just a practice sheet anyway. And then got some of these sitting around so that we can test the colors to see if it's kind of where we want to go. So I'm going to put some of the colors out on my palette. And I chose to use this palette because it's got a lot of different wells. And you want to have enough of your colors mixed up so that when you start to put it on your design, you're not going to run out of paint. So that's important. And I'm just trying to see what this, oh, Chrome Oxide Green. It's one of my favorites. It's a Sennieler. There we go. So we'll put the greens up here. We'll mix those as we go. Chrome Oxide Green. Set my colors over here as I use them. And this one's Sennieler Green, another one of my favorites. And of course, if we need to create any more greens, you can always use some yellow and create some greens that way. Sennieler Green. Don't need a lot of this. I've always gotten a habit of putting a lot of paint out and then it dries and it's difficult to deal with, difficult to clean, and all those good things. So you want to be cautious of that. Now I got a Hooker's Green here, which is really pretty. So I think those will be our 3 greens. That we'll start with. We're going to mix them all separate, of course. I got fresh clean water over here, and I got fresh clean water in my jars with covers on them with the blending and glazing medium. Let me get my cover back on. There it goes. All right, so that's our green. Now I'm going to leave a space in between to mix the greens into. And now I've got Phthalo Blue, so we'll start there. And then, like I said, with the medium, this will be a medium blue up here. We're just going to add a whole bunch of water to create that light blue down there, so that'll work. That's a really strong color, Phthalo Blue, so you want to be cautious with that. Now, this color kind of caught my attention while I was looking for colors, and this is Cobalt Green. Almost looks like a teal. Very pretty color. And then my absolute favorite, did I not bring it out? Thought I did. Yeah, French Ultramarine. We're going to have 4 blues because blue's going to be a prominent color here on our background. French Ultramarine. There's so much you can do with that color. And then one more color I want to put in there is Cobalt Blue. Very pretty color. A little bit of water in there from me cleaning it. That's okay. So those would be our blues. And then again, we'll skip one, go to our yellows. And I do also have the dioxine purple to add into the blue if we want to go that route for the dark side, which I think we might. And this one is Sennieler Yellow Light. Very pretty color. And that's going to work out good because some of the petals are going to be the same. And then this one, of course, is lemon yellow. See the difference between those two? And then there is a Sennieler Yellow Deep. I chose not to grab that one. Whoops. But I do want to add an orange in there to help contrast with that orange in the background too. I want to get that in there too so it kind of reflects all the way around the design. You always want to bring the color. Now this is a Windsor & Newton orange, and it's a Windsor & Newton orange red shade, which I thought was pretty darn close to what the inside of those flowers are, just so you have the correct name there. All right, I'm going to set this aside too in case we need it later. I'll have it. So let's mix some of these colors together and see if we can find a good background value. We'll put them on here. I'll write down what they are. I'm going to get a clean one. This one's been used once, so we'll grab a clean one here. Have a little drawer sitting here with a lot of these in it. There's a clean one. It's a little bit smaller. And then what we're going to do with the paper that I grabbed is we're going to wet it, because that's what we're going to do with the paper when we paint the background. And then we're going to see how it blends. So if we pick out a color that we absolutely love but it doesn't work well with the other colors, this will tell us that, so we can correct that as we go. Now I have my mixing brush. I definitely want to use my mixing brush. Don't want to use a good brush. Gets to be pretty expensive. So I'm going to just add some fresh clean water over here. And I'm just going to stir in a little bit of the blue until we get to the color that I'm thinking in my mind. And that's what you want to do too. Go through some of your resource materials, whether it be books like what I do, or magazines possibly would be another option for you. It's kind of a pretty color. Lots of different tricks that you can try. I mean, you're not going to steal their design. You're not going to paint what they're painting. You just want to look at the colors that they used. And is that going to work with the design that you have in your mind, or the idea that you have in your mind? This is better. I'm glad I put out that extra color there. And I'm going to grab all of it. There we go. Yeah, see, now that's the color I'm thinking of in that upper left-hand corner. Oh, that's just absolutely stunning. I've never tried these colors put together before, but that's the color I want up there. Then we're going to add a whole lot of water and create this edge too. So we got our blue. I'm very happy with that. And I am going to write down exactly what we have on there because I don't want you to forget it, and you'll get a copy of this, and I don't want to forget it because it's such a pretty color. So we got, now that first one, Cobalt Blue, so CB, and I'll give you a little chart what all the initials mean. Phthalo Blue, French Ultramarine, and it is different than just ultramarine. It's lighter, so you want to be sure and look at that when you pull your colors out. See if you've just got a French Ultramarine, and this one's Cobalt Green. Gorgeous color. That's what really made it go to the color I was looking for. Cobalt Green. There we go. So that's our blue color. I'm going to just, there we go. Okay. So we got that marked off. And we got our blues done. Let me clean out my mixing brush so I don't carry those colors over. There we go, that looks good. And I'm just going to grab, oh, I want to do it on the side. Yeah, this is going to be just right. So all right. I want that to be a little richer. Even more than that. There we go. Let's see how that color looks. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Now this is not going to be a huge amount of the background, this green, but I want it to be in there. And I think what it's going to end up doing is we're going to put the blue up here, and then we're going to have some green that kind of casts it together. And then we're going to go back to the dark blue. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. We're going to do the darker blue here. Then we'll do some of the green. And then we'll go back to the dark blue again. This will be the light blue. And then we'll do more green down here. So that'll be a very beautiful, beautiful color. Okay. Now I'm going to just take some of this green, which is where some of it's going to be with the yellow. Okay. I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to try this color first, which is the Sennieler Light. Kind of see how does that blend in with that green. Not too bad. I think that'll be a pretty green that we can add as a charging effect. All right, let's try that with the blue. I'm going to just take a little bit of the blue over there. Clean my brush. Put the blue up here. Because this will be in some of these. I'm going to try the orange in this one. Blue and orange are great together. Lighten it up a tad. Yeah, see, now that just kind of created mud, but it's got the green going in there too, so there's part of the problem. I'm gonna add just a little bit more of our blue. That's not too bad with just the blue. I could keep the green out of there, but it's the way the table is. So if you look at the photograph, it's got some yellow, and then it's got some yellow orange, and that's going to be not a bad color. It'll be prettier against the green, but that's okay. All right, so we've got our colors chosen. And I think I used just about every color I put out except the lemon yellow, which that's okay because that's going to be in the flower. All right, so that's how I choose my backgrounds. We'll write this down again because I don't want to forget what we did. So we used Hooker's Green, looking at the wrong ones here. Okay. There's the Hooker's Green. There's the one I'm looking for. Sennieler Green. That was tough. And then we had Chrome Oxide Green. So Chrome Oxide Green. So those were the three colors that we used there. Okay. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I will include this in the reference photo and so forth, so you have a real good idea of what we're doing with the background. And again, if you want to change the colors of your background, please don't hesitate. I mean, this is your design. You want to make it to fit into your home, to fit into a person that's buying the design from you into their home and their colors. You have to study color theory though to make sure that the colors you're using are going to fit within the color scheme. Okay, so what we're doing here is yellow and orange with a complementary color of blue. That's our color scheme. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's do this. I want to show you how this is going to work. And I'm going to grab a big brush. Oh, there's one. Good. We're going to see how this works on the paper. Now I do have my blending and glazing medium in this water. In case you haven't seen any of my other videos, I use the Windsor & Newton blending and glazing medium for watercolors. They put out quite a few different types of mediums, so make sure it says that it's for watercolors, because if it doesn't, you're probably using an oil product or even possibly a gouache, which probably wouldn't be too bad, but you want it to be for watercolors. So let's see what these look like as we put them on our paper. Got some fuzzies on that paper. All right, pick up the blue. And before I actually paint the background, I will definitely have enough. Oh, that's gorgeous. Just love it. And this is just to see how it's going to go together with the other colors. Clean my brush. So I don't want to take that color to the other green. I'm just gonna, might need that to be just a little bit more green. I'm gonna just pick up a little bit more of the hookers. Yeah, that's better. See, it's important to try this on your paper or on a scrap piece of paper like this. And we're not doing it to make it smooth or anything else. We're just looking to see, are the colors going to go well together? And are they going to blend? And it looks like they will. Kind of help them along here. It's not real wet, but that's okay. All right, now I'm going to just pick up some of that orange. Yeah, that's going to be real pretty in the background. Happy with that. We're just going to let that soak in. Let's do the same thing with the yellow. I'm just adding a little bit of water to it so we can see. Oh yeah, that's going to be real pretty on the green. Let's see how it does over here. Ooh, not bad. I like it. So I think the colors that we chose are going to look real lovely together. We could even put some of that orange in the green too and see how that goes. More of the color in there. See that orange and the green, it darkens the orange a little bit, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. You don't want the same value throughout your design. You want different values, you want warmer colors. You just don't want the same color background. A lot of times you'll just see a real dark background and there's nothing to it. I mean, there's no light value coming in, none of that is going on. So it's very frustrating to see that. To me, I like to see where we're going to have some blues and greens, and you don't ever want them to be gaudy. As I look at this right at the moment, it appears to be a little gaudy to me, but I think once I get enough of the paint mixed together, we'll be good with that. This was just a sample to see how it was going to work. Once we get it to that value, that'll be beautiful. And then to that value. So we've got some really pretty color choices there. So now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and put some masking fluid on the flowers so they don't get wet when we do the background. So I'm going to set this aside. Always kind of a hard thing to find a spot for all this stuff. All right, I'm going to save you. All right. Now I'm going to grab my masking fluid and I'll be right back with you.